Morning. Today we're going to look at chevron stitch, which you can see beautifully sampled in this lovely restful chevron cowl, which is our latest knitting kit from the fabulous Michelle, who does all our restful range. Now the key about the restful range is that it's always easy to knit, and actually this looks really complicated. It's not, but I wanted to share the best way to make it simple for you. But firstly, just to a point of finishing, we really believe in blocking here, which is how you finish your work. It means you wash it. We've got a blog on this and some videos on this, but you wash it and then you pin it to a board to press it out. And this I'm mentioning because it's a perfect example of when you should block. Here, amazingly, it's quite impossible to believe, but this is a straight line. But because of how we knit, it ends up with this lovely curve. Now, it also means that it slightly rolls over, which most knitting does anyway, which is why we block it. Blocked perfectly, no rollover, some imperfect work done by me because it's a cowl. You have to block it double width, I suppose. And you can tell here that I failed. I don't know if you can see that. I failed to block that. I failed to catch that in when I was pinning it. This was the back side. So again, failed to catch that bit in. It's curling over. I might cheat and try and use a warm iron on it later. But here you see perfect blocking, imperfect blocking, and that's why we're fans of it. So this was the front side, so perfect all over. So this pattern is an 18 stitch pattern repeat. There's 6 stitches here, 6 here, 6 here, and 6 here. But every third row we do a different stitch to make this lovely, extraordinary, how would you call it? Almost a leaf effect. It's lovely with holes up the edge. So let's have a look at how we achieve that. So the first thing to note is, I think we'll come in a bit closer for the actual. It's an 18 stitch pattern repeat. Now that's the easiest way to manage any extensive pattern repeat is to mark between at the end. I mean, obviously it's a 4 stitch pattern repeat. You don't need to, but if we've got quite a big block, which is 18 stitches, it's quite good to mark it. So I've marked here 18 stitches, here is 18 stitches, and here is the end of the row, which I've identified by using 2 stitch markers. You could just use a different colour, but that's not enough for me, I'd forget, so I use 2. It's also great when you're casting on, because actually the cowl, this is a small sample I've put together, but the cowl is nearly 200 stitches. It's 180 stitches, and so really you don't want to be, when you're casting on, you don't want to keep starting 1, 2, 3, 4. So mark it every 18 stitches. You've got your stitch markers in place. You then knit for 2 rounds. This pattern specifically is for knitting in the round. So we're on round 3. We've knit for 2 rounds and we're now on round 3. So we're going to knit 2 together. Just a standard knit. And then we're going to repeat that again. Knit 2 together. And we're going to do this 3 times. So where we had 6 stitches, we now only have 3 knit together. Now we're going to increase 6 stitches. So we're going to do that simply by a yarn over. So bring the yarn to the front and then knit. So we've made a stitch. Yarn to front, knit 2. Yarn to the front, knit 3. Yarn to the front, knit 4. I mean, we're knitting 1 each time, but I'm counting it. Knitting the 5th one. So we have increased these stitches. So we've increased it by 6. So we reduced it by 3, then we increased 6. And now we need to get back to 18. So we're going to knit the last 6 stitches. We're going to knit 2 stitches together 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So we should have 18 stitches. Let's have a look. We have got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. So you won't need to count that. You'll be doing this. You'll know when you've got to the end because you'll have done knit 2 together 3 times, yarn over and knit 1 6 times, and then knit 2 together 3 times. So let's just repeat that one more time. 1, 2, hopefully you can still see what I'm doing, 3, and obviously this is quite a small sample, so I have to stretch it around a little bit. And now we've knit 3 stitches 2 together. We're going to do yarn over 1, 2, yarn over again, 3, yarn over again, 4, yarn over again, 5, yarn over again, 6, and now we're just going to knit the last stitches, the last 6 stitches. We're going to manage the last 6 stitches by knitting 2 together 3 times. Now I am just going to do the last in this sample piece, which is not the full cowl, obviously. I'm just going to do the last 18 stitches fast so that I can show you how the next knit row will go. Okay, so we are ready to follow on that decrease increase row, which is how we get the core pattern, by just doing 2 rows of simple knit stitch. Now obviously we have separate videos if you're a total beginner for the knit stitch, which I can provide a link for, but I just want to get to the bit, the yarn over. I have had calls about this, which is it looks too strange, I'm scared, I don't like it, but just go with the fact it looks strange. So you can see here, that's just the yarn over, and it clearly isn't a proper stitch, but we're going to turn it into a proper stitch by knitting it. Then that's the knit stitch next to it. Then we've got this strange yarn over thing and a knit stitch. And then look, you go, that's a bit weird, so you kind of drop it. Well, it's easy if you make a mistake, you just pick it up again. So we do that, we do that. Just don't worry about the yarn over, just knit it. And that is simply it. If you're unsure to start with, just check you've got 18 stitches, but I know that we've just done the 3 at the beginning, and then there's 12 stitches that were a mixture of a yarn over, and then we've got the 3 at the end, so that's a total of 18. We get to that 18th stitch where we've got a stitch marker, and that's it. So you'll then knit for another row and get back to the pattern creation row, which is the knit 2 together 3 times, then yarn over, knit 1 6 times, then knit 2 together 3 times, finish. The final row is a knit row, you cast off, bind off, and you end up with this extraordinary result, which is the first row, which is a simple knit row. Looks curvy. The top row, which is a simple knit row and then a bind off, is curvy. And that's because of this amazing panel down the middle and these lovely bits where we're knitting 2 together all the time. So I hope you enjoy making it. I have knit it up as well, and I loved making this. It's going to be fabulous to wear. Oh, if you're interested, this is the moss green, alpaca moss green. Anyway, enjoy.